By 1794, the French Revolution had spiraled into extreme violence. The Reign of Terror consumed not only its enemies, but also many of its own supporters. Even members of the Committee of Public Safety, the institution directing the terror, began to fear Robespierre and suspected they might be the next victims. On July 27, 1794, or 9th of Thermidor, year 2 in the revolutionary calendar, a coalition of disillusioned Jacobins and committee members staged a coup against Robespierre. Fearing his growing power and the possibility that he would turn against them, they had him and his closest allies arrested on the floor of the convention. Within 2 days, Robespierre and 82 of his supporters were executed by guillotine. His death marked a major turning point in the revolution. Since 1789, moderates and conservatives had attempted to slow or reverse the revolution's radical direction, without success. Only after the Thermidorian reaction did the revolution finally move away from its most extreme phase. After the fall of the radical phase of the revolution, moderates took control of the government and aimed to stabilize France. Their goals were to preserve the major achievements of the revolution, such as equality before the law and the end of feudal privileges, while also repressing royalist counter-revolutionaries who threatened to restore the monarchy. At the same time, they sought to restrain radical factions, particularly the Jacobins, in order to prevent a return to the extreme violence and instability of the Terror. To maintain power over both extremes, the radical left and the reactionary right, the Thermidorians acted quickly and decisively. They curtailed the authority of powerful committees that had previously exercised near-dictatorial control, released thousands of prisoners who had been detained during the Terror, and, in November 1794, shut down the Paris Jacobin Club, which had been a central hub of radical political activity. Moderates feared both mob violence and the re-emergence of dictatorship, and to prevent either outcome, they created a new conservative constitution, ratified in 1795. This constitution limited voting rights to the wealthiest 30,000 male citizens, significantly reducing popular participation in government. At the same time, it distributed power across several governing bodies in an effort to prevent the rise of another dominant figure like Robespierre and to ensure a more stable political system. The new system of government divided authority between 2 legislative assemblies and a 5-man executive council known as the Directory. This structure was designed to create balance and prevent any single group or individual from gaining too much power. However, despite these intentions, the system soon proved to be weak, ineffective, and deeply divided, making it difficult to govern France successfully. For a brief time, it appeared that domestic peace might return, but the Directory quickly fell victim to factional struggles. In September 1797, a group of 3 radical directors, often referred to as the Triumvirate, seized power in a coup to strengthen their control over the government. They removed the other 2 directors from office and purged nearly 200 moderate deputies from the legislature to eliminate opposition. To maintain their authority and enforce these changes, they relied heavily on the support of the army, highlighting the growing role of military power in French politics. With the support of the military, the Directory intensified its repression in an effort to maintain control. Counter-revolutionary newspapers were shut down to silence dissent, while returning émigrés and uncooperative clergy were expelled from France. Political opponents faced harsh consequences, including imprisonment or execution. Although the revolution technically continued, it increasingly lost any clear sense of purpose or coherent direction. Unlike the Glorious Revolution in England or the American Revolution, the French Revolution descended into prolonged instability and turmoil. For roughly 30 years, France experienced ongoing political upheaval, marked by constant shifts in government, frequent foreign wars, and severe economic disruption. This period of uncertainty and conflict highlighted the difficulty of establishing a stable and enduring political system in the wake of such a radical transformation. By the late 1790s, most figures of the old regime were dead or exiled, but so were many leaders of the original revolution of 1789. Across France, people increasingly longed for stability, order, and strong, secure leadership after years of chaos and uncertainty. This widespread desire for a return to normalcy and effective governance created the conditions that would soon pave the way for the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. Understanding the French Revolution is essential because it profoundly shaped Western civilization, politically, socially, and intellectually, well into the 20th century, including the Cold War era. The French Revolution demonstrated that a government could be completely overthrown and that society itself could be radically rebuilt according to new principles. It also showed that those who opposed revolutionary change could be forcibly eliminated. These powerful and often unsettling realities inspired future revolutionaries across Europe and beyond, who saw in France both a model of possibility and a warning of the costs of radical transformation. For many observers, the French Revolution also served as a powerful warning about the dangers of radical change. It demonstrated that revolution could easily spiral into violence and instability, leading many to believe that social order must be carefully protected. Governments became increasingly wary of radical movements, arguing that such groups needed to be closely monitored, suppressed, or even imprisoned to prevent chaos. Throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, leaders frequently pointed to the French Revolution as justification for taking strong measures to avoid similar upheavals in their own countries. From 1789 onward, Western civilization was deeply divided between two competing interpretations of revolution. On one hand, many believed that revolution was a positive force capable of bringing freedom, equality, and the opportunity to reshape society along more just and rational lines. On the other hand, critics argued that revolution was inherently dangerous, often leading to violence, chaos, and terror, and therefore should be prevented whenever possible. Both perspectives looked to the French Revolution as their primary historical example, using its dramatic events to support either the promise or the peril of radical change. Whether one wanted to start a revolution or stop one, the French Revolution became the reference point for justifying their actions.